Keep it busy up there.
All right, you are live on YouTube.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the Dickman Road Business Improvement District meeting. First order of business, we have minutes for May 5th. Can I get a motion to accept those minutes?
Motion.
Support. I have motion and support. Any discussion? Any changes? All right, hearing none. All in favor of the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We have our interim financials and the preliminary year-end review. John, you want to walk us through that?
I can do that. Yep. So basically, this is a comparison of the budget compared to the preliminary year end. And so I guess we'll start with the assessments. So you can see that Springfield's assessments pretty much right on. So the money we expected and the money we got. So we were up 466. And then you can see the city of Battle Creek. We expected 34,688 and we ended up with 43,185. So we're sort of looking into it, but we got a little more money than we expected. And so the way that would happen would be if someone sort of paid off early, you know, so maybe they made a double payment, you know, got 1 year left. They said, oh, well, let's just pay both. That could be the reason, because otherwise, remember everyone sort of, 5 years ago, we projected what the budget would be. This is what we're going to collect based on your road frontage, and it doesn't really change. So unless someone pays off sooner, or doesn't make a payment.
As I say, or
Or the opposite, but here, so we do have a little extra of 8,497, so by year end. And then, as you go through the expenses, you can kind of see where we're at with them, and pretty much it's status quo. We've been doing, the maintenance on the mile, the mowing, the ordering of banners, the marketing piece that we've been doing with the vehicles out to the air show. And then this year, one added piece that we did, which probably hit this budget versus the one we're in now, was the advertisement on the balloon. So having the pilot and the advertisement on the balloon this year, which was different than what we've done in the past. And then, coming down to year end, you can see we're also sort of up in our fund balance. So it's projected at 105 and we're at 112. So good thing. So now we have 112 at some point to think about how do we want to deploy the use of those funds. So it's kind of nice having a little bit of padding, because sometimes in the past, I know it might have only been around 20 or 30 or something, and that's hard to do a big project when there's only 20 or 30,000. So it's now we're starting to build a cushion where we can consider maybe a larger initiative of some sort. So that's it for the financials.
Thank you, John. Any approval needed on that?
No, I guess just accept and put on file.
Okay.
If everyone's comfortable with that, that's what we'll do.
Moved into the minutes.
Okay.
We have old business. Sign update. Anything left on that, or are we all completed on that?
I think it's all good. He's just looking at me because he knows
Light it
I'm
up.
watching it.
Good to go.
So I finally lit it up.
Yes,
Okay.
it's good.
All
Jim's
right.
been keeping me on my toes. So
Perfect.
we did have some issues, just typical timing, getting it done, staffing, and then after staffing, getting it ordered, and then not
and then
having
getting
an address,
lighting and
consumers, but we finally did get it done. And thanks to Jim watching it and sort of asking questions, we got it up. So
Okay,
it looks good, clean and neat.
landscaping, maintenance, anything there we want to go
So
over?
I think it's looking pretty good. I don't see a lot of extra grass laying around. So I think we're mowing it appropriately, timing wise, and then the beds were just cleaned up and sprayed, and so they're looking a little bit better. I think we can probably spend a little money on raising the canopy on some of the trees up and down the ends. If you're not opposed to that, then we'll start looking at that. And since we do have a little bit of
go ahead and
fund balance,
do
it
that.
seems reasonable this is the time we should, come fall a little bit, we should start to clean up a little even more. There's some fence line stuff around the river and down by the credit union that I'd like to, we spent 2 years ago, we went in and got a bunch out, and then there's still some volunteers embedded right into the fence, volunteer trees, I should say. So, not people embedded in the fence, but, so anyways, I'd like to take a shot at getting some of that from where that cleaned up.
Probably the biggest thing that I see right now is the banners. I
Yes,
know before even the storm last night, we were probably missing, I hate to say the word 50%,
Mhm.
but I bet we're missing 50% of the banners up right now. So it's starting
Yes.
to look.
It looks bad.
Looks bad.
Yeah,
I hate to say it that
No,
way
it does
too.
look bad.
So do we have enough banners to be able to go out and replace that many banners?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, so we ordered at the last meeting, we ordered them.
Okay, are they in yet?
Yeah, we've since received them and I talked to DPW and they apologized, staffing and time.
Yeah.
And so, but I was like,
We're
well,
right
we
here.
gotta-
Should we go?
Yeah, we should go. We are right here. So, but they did say, yes, we'll get to it. They're gonna work it in, because
Okay.
I've noticed them too and called in a few times and
Okay,
so, yeah, but they look bad. At the very least, we should get them down. The one, I don't know if you noticed the ones that are
Red
hanging.
ones, yeah.
But first get the ones hanging down and then go back out and put them up.
yeah, and the ones that kind of celebrate community, those were very cool. We put
Yeah,
them up
they're time to
a
go.
year ago, but those are time to.
And they're faded also.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so we will, the idea is to go through, get them all back up, get them secured, and so we'll push again on that.
Okay.
And get that taken care of, but yes, we do have them, so thanks for that purchase. Yep, and so, that's,
And then just one other note while I'm speaking out of turn, the cleaning fees for the cars,
Mhm.
is that something that typically comes from the bid, or is that something that comes from the balloon festival?
it comes from us. So,
Okay.
I mean, I'll generate and we have the invoices, we have standard invoices from the last year, so we'll just turn them around and send them in for you. And so, we should be able to process.
Yeah,
them
and she
this
should
month.
be able to tell you what number of cars she
Yep.
had from who,
Yeah,
as far as that part
Yeah.
goes, so,
and I think it was pretty much as she laid out, but we'll confirm.
okay.
So, and I will, we'll do that under old business. I'll make sure that,
Yeah.
that,
Fest reimbursement.
Old and new.
yeah, invoice for dealers. Okay, yep, we'll get that done. And then I'm just noting that,
And Scott, just so you understand what we do, we typically, all the dealers go through and we give them cars. And then basically the bid is nice enough to pay to clean the cars when the cars come back from them using, so we give them for free. And then the bid pays to have them cleaned.
yeah.
And then she gets cars for free for the Blue Angels or
Thanks.
Thunderbirds or whoever is out there.
And then we're noted on all the marketing material. So
It's a little give and take.
the motor mileage, and the dealerships.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, that's what, the landscaping and maintenance, and maintenance is part of that with the banners. So is everyone good with garbage? Okay, I mean, it
Yeah.
seems like
Yep,
the
things
bids
are
all-
cleaned up.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was, we did treat the median, to the east, we treated the medians, the concrete medians, we've cleaned them in the past, we treated them. The weeds are dead, but we need to, next time, maybe treat them before there's weeds, so that there are no weeds. But I see that they're, at least ways dead. We can, again, probably, and you and I probably need to have
Yeah.
coffee and talk about Springfield's end.
Okay.
So, and it's not necessarily, your end's not necessarily in the bid, but it's just
Still, no,
the section up to the airport, if someone wants to hit that with weed control in the beginning of the year, it'll probably look a lot nicer and complete the stretch of the medians being taken care of, so.
Perfect.
So we're working on that as well, and then, I did see that the person who's marketing the property for sale, near this, between the storage area and here, Kendall Street, they've cleaned out the woods a lot.
Mm.
So I was gonna reach out to them and compliment them, because that was looking pretty shaggy for years. And then, next time when I come back to you, there's some sort of lots out there, vacant lots that we might be able to look at to see if we can get cleaned up. And closer to you, headed down the east end, closer to Baxter, there's a corner lot, it's just heavily wooded that maybe might need a little injection of some funding or something to try to offer whoever the owner is to like help clean it up. So,
Yeah, I would think Turf Works would do something like that as long as we told them what we wanted to try to do. Dave's been pretty good about it,
Yeah.
doing whatever we kind of asked him
Yeah.
to do, so.
yeah, so I'll ask him about that, because that'll be a little more time and money cleaning up vacant lots and getting the grass pushed back and getting the trees pushed back and all that sort of thing. So, and we'll also have to determine whose property it is, but it probably would make it look a lot nicer if we sort of helped with getting some of that sort of scrub brush and stuff out of the side lots. So, okay.
Good. Security cameras, John, what
Yeah.
are we doing there?
Well, so we're still, my goal was to get out and get all of the properties surveyed and figure that out, but as I was mentioned to a couple board members before, I'm down to just myself in the office, but we did interviews yesterday, and I think I found 2 candidates for 2 open positions. So
Good.
So hopefully within a couple weeks, I'll be back up to staff, and then we can actually get out there and do it. The police department also is understaffed right now. There's 60 open positions, or close to that at City Hall. So, so we're all running on fumes. So try to
All right.
figure it out. So we'll have to go back out there and hit that hard, and hopefully have a solid update for you guys at the next meeting with an action plan to move forward.
Perfect. Moving on to new business, police department update. I don't see anyone here today, so obviously the staffing has got them out of the meeting. And river restoration, I know a lot going on there.
There is a lot going on, so I
Tell
wanted
us what
to.
the
where we're
latest
at.
and greatest, yeah.
Yeah, so I want to make sure everyone knows there was an appropriation for funding in the next budget for by the state for 13 million to go towards that project. And but I want to make sure everyone knows that doesn't mean that it's going to get built. It doesn't, 13 million won't even scratch the surface of the need to like actually restore the river and naturalize it and do flood control and all those sorts of things. This is really just money to do sort of the pre-development work to determine and to prepare ourselves for reacting to the hydrological study that the Army Corps of Engineers is doing. So right now they're in their first phase of a 2-phase study. So they're studying the existing conditions, you know, and seeing what the hydrology is, and then hopefully in August, September, they're going to be coming and doing a site visit, and then by September, hopefully those findings will be completed. And then once those findings are completed, and then they will move on to modeling. Okay, so hopefully they'll say, all right, we've done the assessment, we understand the hydrology, you know, upstream and downstream. Now let's work on what would it look like if we naturalize the river? What would it look like if we pull out the dams? You know, what would it look like if we have natural floodplain instead of the channelization? So they'll move to that direction. And then in the meantime, we have money for surveys, pre-engineering, environmentals, property acquisition. That's what the 13 million would go for, not for actual pulling anything out or, you know, but demolition, purchase, environmentals, surveys, all that kind of stuff. So the soft costs anyone would have, pre-development costs.
So the timeline for the whole project, if it was to go forward, is this like 15 years?
Well, it would be way out there, yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly. I guess it all depends on funding, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll take, I mean, it's taken, essentially, the Army Corps, you know, said it'd be on their schedule, a 2-year schedule, just to get to the point of studying it and modeling it.
Yeah.
And then after that, then we'd have to go into design and at the same time start raising funds. But it appears that, I mean, certainly by having 13 million allotted to it, it's a big deal. And so I think that it's going to be expensive and it's going to be a big project. But I think that there's probably the will there, as long as the study shows that it can be safely removed and naturalized. And then it becomes, as we've said 100 times before, not only flood control, but a draw to the community and a form of ecotourism and economic development. You can develop the waterfront, you can enjoy the waterfront. It could be, it would drastically improve the look and feel of that end of town and sort of merge the two. So, and then you know, in that regard also, there's property around, Jim and I have talked about property around the area that's for sale, available. Some of it was blighted, some of it's been removed over the last couple of years. And we believe that, you know, if this goes the way we think it will, this will sort of raise the marketability of some of those properties. And in some cases, it might even afford us the ability to purchase them and remove them and redevelop them, make them available for redevelopment after we get the right of way that we need. So more to come on that. I heard from a realtor, I haven't confirmed, but 2 days ago I heard that Pancake House sold. So I'm gonna check into that and see if that is indeed the case. So that would be nice if it did. And either way, it'd be nice. I mean, whether it's part of our plan or someone else's plan, that would be good if that acquisition was made. There are some interested parties sort of talking to Horrocks for different segments of their property. And there is ongoing planning and a submission for housing development and mixed use housing development on the Kmart site. So all of this stuff is sort of moving forward.
How about Treehouse? I see that's listed for sale. Again.
It's listed. It's listed.
Grand Rapids people that
The folks that also bought the plant, the paper plant, so they're interested in picking up property and, salvaging all that they can from it, selling off, what they can from it, and then marketing it for sale, not for development necessarily. So.
because there was supposed to be retail shop. It was supposed to be
Yeah,
they were developers. Not,
they had done some plans, and there were some individuals looking at it, trying to see how they would fit in, but I think it was more speculative than anything. So, but it's not bad to have plans put together and have speculation, because then other folks can sort of look at that and say, well, yeah, how could I plug into that? And the same is true for, there was a proposal up on Go Back Lake for the old waterfront. And I dig that plan out on a monthly basis and send it to people, because I'm like, yeah, look, I mean, here's why it worked, what could have worked, but here's why it didn't work. And look at all the preliminary architectural and engineering that's been done. And so it's kind of helpful to have some of those, sitting on the back burner where it shows that people are interested, or there's possibilities, but maybe it didn't happen. The timing wasn't right. The financing wasn't right.
All right,
There's nothing we can do as far as with I know we don't have huge amounts of funds, but there's nothing we can do to try to help market those properties on the motor mile. I'm gonna kind of look at like, okay, I mean, I'm not looking at like Go Black Lake or something
Right.
like that, but if there's something on Dickman Road, if we'd said, okay, hey, as a group of individuals, we want to advertise these 3 properties, in such and such magazine or on such and such website or something like that. Is there something out there that we could try to help develop those properties or advertise those properties?
I would say yes, if that's the desire of the bid board, that if you wanted to try to help stimulate redevelopment, that's within your purview. I mean, I think of that being true even on the vacant lots there, across from Hinkle and stuff right now, and between the storage area. I mean, it's sitting there and it's being advertised, but it's not being, no one's saying, oh, well, here's what should go there, right?
Right.
Or here's some incentives to go there. But that's certainly this board, if wants to consider, like, how do you stimulate those vacant lots being redeveloped or properties? I mean, that's, even having the conversation is good, right? Because it seems like maybe there's some interest. So how do we plug in?
Well, if you had any ideas, I mean, that's not really in my wheelhouse. I mean, I can
Right.
advertise a car for you, but I can't really
Right.
advertise property for you. But if there was somebody like Calendar that had ideas to, to do something with commercial real estate to advertise it, in a 5-state area or something like that. And I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn for everybody, but I think that's something that I'd like to see us, spend some money on and try to help, develop those lots. And I feel like the whole motor mile in the last, 3 or 4 years has taken some pretty hard hits. And anything we can try to do to bring it back around would be great.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think it's true, ebb and flow. Things have happened, some things are going away, but when some things go away, it leaves some opportunity for some things to come. So I think that, from an inside perspective, I see that a lot of this, there's a lot of opportunity now, and a lot of ability to sort of undo things that maybe had crippled us in the past to move or be more flexible with land. So even the fact that the plant is down, the paper plant's down, that's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate we lost some jobs. But at the same time, if that can be removed and it becomes not a a blight and a headache and a deterrent to redo the river or to reline the roads, then that's okay. And if it leaves us with property that can be developed in 4 different ways, 4 different types of things versus a singular plant that only sort of provides jobs, a couple hundred jobs, then I think there's some hope that some better things are coming. So, but I hear you.
So I would say, as you look into it, John, and as you hear things, if there's a way we can help out or do something, we'd like to hear opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, we'll note it in the minutes.
Kind of leave it at that and see
Yeah.
what comes up your way. Yeah.
We'll note it in the minutes and then we'll continue to talk about it and think about how we could plug in.
Mhm.
And then the board can decide if that's, it doesn't cost us any money to think about it. It doesn't cost us any money to come
Yeah.
back to you and say, I heard what was said last time. Here's an opportunity. Should we invest in this? The market.
Some of it could be too, Jim, even cleaning up any adjacent properties to something that's for sale that needs help.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd much rather move that way than us trying to
Yeah.
get into marketing. That's the realtor's job.
Mhm.
To me
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
economic development people.
If we can make the property look more attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything.
Mhm.
I'm up for anything.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think I sort of agree with first dealing with sort of blight and helping others. I mean, there's a couple of you who are doing projects right now who have asked for some facade assistance and continue.
So it'd be interesting if you could maybe liaison anything from any realtors or anything that, okay, we had a client for this property, but if there's a but there and there's something that we could
Yeah, good.
help with.
And there's
And the
almost,
Kmart property, but there's 3 properties behind it that
yes,
were,
some smaller ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's often in the daily work that I do, there's always the buts.
Yeah.
There's hey, we'd like to do this, but can you help us with some soft costs? We don't really, can you help us with an environmental? Can you help us with a survey, with an appraisal? These are $5,000, $10,000 asks, but they're real. They don't want to spend the money before they make the decision. And then usually it's the kind of thing that then we pay for and then we can use again for the next person if this
Yeah.
person doesn't do it. So that I could probably bring some of that to you. And then maybe create a line item so that if you say, yeah, that worked and that was effective, then I don't have to come wait 3 months, to ask again if we can do it. We can just put a little money over there to do it.
So the assessment on the Kmart property, is the city paying that as a property owner of that property?
Yeah. like
That was
taxes,
paid in
that would be-
full when
So
they.
Oh, the assessment, yes, it was paid.
It was paid in full, so it's up for the whole
Yeah.
5 years, it's already been paid.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's, would be
That
there.
could carry forward.
yeah, we
I
were.
feel like we got it
we-
all 1 year,
we
then we
did.
got a huge lump sum.
Yeah, the budget the revenue went way up and then we had to adjust because then we knew it'd come down.
Yeah.
And then we adjusted it down for the next couple years and
I feel
then,
like, yeah, you adjusted. it all
yeah,
out,
so we
it's
don't,
something different.
anomaly in that, we're not quite sure where it is, but we think we already accounted for that. But yeah, that's all been paid, so it will be in the next round. Essentially VCU owns it, so they'd have to start paying the assessment. So that's, in general,
River restoration, other things going on in the motor mile, we covered it all.
we kind of covered it all. Yeah,
Public comment, but we have no public to us, I don't think
Right.
they can go online.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah, so we're.
Yeah, no public
Let's get
here,
public
so-
comment and then board member comments.
Yes,
Investor has something for us.
so we have the Springfield Car Show. We actually moved the date this year to celebrate our 70th anniversary, being incorporated as the city of Springfield. So it kind of took a turn. I learned from Tim that they have a car show the same day in the morning on the 17th. Ours is going to be 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and then we're going to flow into a movie in the park for the kiddos. But what we're looking for is support from the bid board of at least $1,000 to contribute to the event. Our expenses have gone up because we're trying to go with the theme of being more celebratory this year. So we've incurred a few additional costs in terms of like the movie rental and the projection screen and some other items. So if it's of interest to the bid board, we would love to have your support. I think there's been some precedents in the past of the bid board supporting an event like this. So with that, I'd love to hear any feedback that you all might have or any comments, or if you want to sponsor individually, I have a couple of copies as well of the sponsorship form.
So you said a smooth location, where is it going to be held?
It's gonna be at Bag Park in Springfield, so we've always had it there. We just moved the date from,
Oh, you moved the date.
traditionally, we've been on the Labor Day weekend. And so with this, a little bit more planning involved, we wanted to move it and see how does things work on the September 17th versus a holiday weekend. And definitely have more better coordination with Tim on their event going forward. So I think the
Tim, is
staff.
that one at Heritage that day?
And what time is yours, Tim?
We run 9 to 1.
9 to 1.
Is that for all import cars or just
Everything.
Corvettes?
We take
Some Nissans. and
Army
Toyotas, whatever.
tanks, if there's anything shows up.
So that could be kind of okay, because you can.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Co-market
I
if
when I
the
saw
board
this and stuff
decides,
up
yeah.
3.
Different time, it's not competing at the same time.
Right.
No,
Tim wants them out of there by 3, time to close up the lot.
Right.
we close it up at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
They peel out and party and
After hours at Springfield.
Yeah, that's right, take your show down the road.
We have
Is
general
this
market.
something we can make a decision on right now?
Yeah, we can. I mean, we have, so kind of the way we've been doing it is like you set up budgets for me.
Yeah.
And then, so this would fall into marketing. And if there's consensus that you wanna pursue a sponsorship as marketing, then we'll just make sure the motor miles logos and stuff are on any other marketing material and that they co-market
Absolutely.
with, you know.
we used to do the
Cruise the God.
Cruise of Gut.
Yeah.
Well, and we've done the Springfield Car Show too. I don't remember what
Right.
the amounts were.
Is Cruise the God happening?
It is,
No, it's not. Did they change?
the cruise is happening. So, yeah, it's right now, it's under review by city.
I saw something online, it
Yes,
said it
and
was pending.
It's very
Oh,
likely
'cause it
that
was canceled
it
2
was-
months ago, right?
yes, it was canceled,
Yeah,
and so
big
there's a
to-do
new-
about that.
there's a new organizer.
Okay.
And they've kind of modified the name, but still keep cruise
The
in.
cruise.
Yeah, and so, and right now there's a permit, a special event permit waiting to be approved at City Hall, and we're trying to make
Do we know the
sure
dates on that?
it would be same date, so it would be next weekend.
I was gonna say, it's coming up,
Yeah.
it's the middle of August,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the plan is, we don't see at City Hall, as long as they keep it the same as it's always been. And they were asking to extend the hours, but we don't really, we're thinking right now, sort of speaking publicly about it, but we're thinking right now it's kind of impacting the community if it's, 10 hours, not 5, So we're just gonna, we'll just say, yeah, as long as it's the same, we should be able to approve it. And it would happen, so that would be good. And that being said, if an individual, if you said you've approved in the past, sponsorships of those things, then that's good to have that conversation too, because if someone were to come to me and ask for that, then I'd say, yeah, we discussed that, that's a.
Yeah, it has to, in general, relate to the Dickman Road
Yeah,
district.
yeah,
Springfield's in the district, Big Park's just a little out of the district, but it still is for the good of the district if we
Yeah.
bring people into the motor mile corridor for that day.
it's still automobile related.
And then I think that's how we did the cruise, was
Yeah.
it was automobile related and downtown Battle Creek related, so we were good, but yeah.
Do you know the dollar amounts we've given to the cruise? Do we get $500 or whatever we give? to
You know,
the
I
cruise in the
don't,
past?
I have, since I've been here, I'm not so sure I've been
I don't think
asked.
we've done
for
it in
I don't think
a
you've
In a long
done it.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I wouldn't know what that is, but,
I felt like it was around $1,000. I thought it was very similar to what Vester was asking for today,
Yeah, no, my finance director, he's been here for a while, so he gave me that number.
yeah.
I was gonna
He
say a
maybe
little
looked
higher.
from the back.
I was gonna say 15, I was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know what he told me.
I was waiting for 5.
Right. I'd be in favor of supporting the Vester's car show.
Appreciate
I
it.
can second that too, if there's a motion for
I
that.
don't know if we need a motion. or
yeah,
just
we
need
don't,
this
I don't think we need a
discussion,
motion,
so.
plus we don't have, investor would.
Yeah, it's already, the budget's already approved, we just have to decide to use it, so, yeah.
Yeah, so if there's just consensus here that, and then for my guidance, if someone were else to ask for sponsorship level for a car show that's of significance.
And
from the
I want them
community.
to, I wanna get it sent out to us so we can approve
Okay.
it. Being a brand new organization, we'd probably wanna do a little due diligence on ourselves to just check what kind
Sounds
of,
good.
Well,
Yeah,
what kind of
there's-
feeling we're getting.
30 car shows a year.
Yeah, no,
So
I would never do that.
Yeah,
No,
there's a
we'll
lot,
keep that.
I have Boy Scouts in, I just sponsored one this last week, but I've always like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, all those, they're all have little car shows now that they sponsor, so you can,
That's all of a sudden
you can
become a
dig
big
yourself
thing.
a big
Yeah.
hole, that's
You
for
can't,
sure.
yeah, we don't wanna, okay, good, then I'm just gonna say that they need to be diligent and come here.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. It was a big help. You know, we were looking at the sponsorship dollars yesterday, actually, and I said, well, I have a bid for a meeting tomorrow. And I'm like, yes. well,
Perfect.
there you go.
Good timing.
So, awesome.
More than
Thank you,
happy to
Tim.
help.
It is a good.
Yep. Community event. So, any other comments by board members? All right, with that, the